Hello. So this is the third video in the series for Microsoft Project 2010. We've been working with this house renovation kind of a project, and we added in the first two videos we did task. We also looked at resources, and we also learned how to add resources to our task and also how to add cost and things like that. We're just going to continue adding a few more elements in this video, and most probably I'll have two more videos on after this. The last thing we did is where we had added this fixed columns and things like that. So if you didn't want this views in your chart, you could click it, right click on it, and you could hide it. Or you can click up here and then you can just click on this A Gant and it brings you back to this one the way it was there before. So in many of these cases we've applied some of the resources. So just to look at our resource sheet, I can click here and I can go to the resource sheet and I can see all the resources where I had added all the prices. I can also click here and I can go to network diagram. So it kind of shows me my network, and I can use the zoom to reduce it so I can see how things are lined up. So I'm just going to come back to the previous view, which is the Gantt view, a Gantt. And I'm going to go ahead and add some people to all of these jobs where I haven't added, because I want to make sure that all the jobs have resources. So I could just even click here and I can say scroll to task so that I see my task here. I can double click on it and I'll say this resource name, I can say me, click OK. And as I do that, the names are getting added there. Measuring the floor, I'll say I'll do this job too. Order tiles, I'll do that job. Order closets, I'll do that job. Check the plan, I'll say I'll do that job too. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add myself to this assembly and also to this assembly. And so I think I've pretty much added to all except for the cleanup. And bring back stuff back, I'll add myself and also maybe add the laborer. Alright, now you start seeing there are some red lines there showing up. So that's just kind of when you point to it, it will tell you that, you know what, somebody in your task is getting over allocated. So in my case, in this case, I'm assigning myself to a lot of jobs. So you can kind of try to fix it in a couple of different ways. One way is I can add my dad somewhere in the system and then add him as resources, or I can remove myself from some of the job, or I can even add overtime to certain jobs. Not in this case, but if there were some jobs where I wanted, I could add some overtime to it, so to make my job task get done faster if I wanted. So to add the overtime, so say for example I wanted to add overtime to this installing tiles, which is going to take 3 days. So if I want to add overtimes, I can click on this detail button here, which will bring the split screen. I can click it again. So you see in the split screen you can see more details about each and every job rather than double clicking on it. I can remove that. Or you go to the corner here, and when you see that symbol, right hand corner, double click and you should get this. Now if I right click on this part and I add the section called work, now in here I can add overtime if I wanted. So that will affect that particular job and it will get done faster because now I'm allowing some overtime. So maybe I'll add, for the tile installer, I'll add 4 hours. So this was supposed to be done in 3 days, and I'll remove the split by pointing here. Now it will be done in 2.5 days. So I had added the split by using the detail button, and then you have to right click here and you can choose work. Once you get this window, you can add overtime. I'm going to remove the details again. And up here, if I wanted, I could double click on it and I can remove myself, and I'll say, you know what, up here the laborer guy will work here. So now the error is gone because I'm not over allocated, but that's just a warning. And you can also use this inspect button, and the inspect button will give you some warnings letting you know where the problems are. Now the next thing I'm going to do is under project, I'm going to go to project information, and I'm going to change the date for the project from this April 1st. I'm going to change it to March 1st, just to see how it will look, as if the project has already started. But before I do that, I want to remind one more time about changing work time. I had showed you in the first video, I believe, that you can click here and you can change the work weeks, and you can go to details and you can change the timings here. There is one more place where you can go. From this you can go to options, and you get this window, and in the schedule you can change the work week. Instead of starting on Sunday, you can change it, also the default times, and also the number of hours per day. So this will automatically adjust your work week. The other way to get to the same place is from File, Options, and then Schedule. So you can get to that window. Okay. So I'm going to go to project information, and I'm going to change the start date to March 1st, and I'll click OK. Now I want to put some of my tasks as finished. So say I've already moved the things to garage. So if I've moved it 50%, I can hit 50% here. If I have done the measuring the floor 100%, I can hit 100%. And there's a check mark that comes up next to it. If I've finished both these jobs, I can even highlight them together and I can hit 100%. You can also double click on it, and in the general you can add whatever percentage you want there. The other option is I can use this mark on track, click on update tasks, and here I can again choose a percentage, and if I had some changes I can put a different date when this job may get done. If I wanted to, I can, instead of it was supposed to be done on the 1st itself, and I can say, well, maybe this will get done on the 4th. So I can make those changes by using that option there too. So as I'm doing it, the check marks are coming up, and wherever I come I can put percentage symbols or remove all tiles. I can say it's done 25%. Now if you want to see your tracking on the Gantt chart, you can click here and you can choose the tracking Gantt. If you find that any of these are not there, you can go to more views, and then you can find the tracking Gantt, and then you can hit apply, so it will show up. There's a good chance the tracking Gantt should be there. And now you see it shows me the percentages. And you can always, if you wanted to, you could go back to the A Gantt, just a regular Gantt chart, if you wanted to just look at that. One of the other ways to fix a problem with over allocation is also to split a task. So if I wanted, I could click on a task and I can use the split options to split it. So say this installing new tiles, I can split it, and now I can drag it. You don't even need to drag the task. All you have to do is you can even click on the task there, click on the split, and then you just click on the middle or wherever you want to split it, and now the task is split up into two different parts. So that will be another way to take care of over allocation when you've got too much jobs going on, there are too many people over allocated. I can hit undo to get out of there. Now let's look at some printing options in terms of reports, which is under project. and in here you see the option called reports. So I can click reports, and there are different types of reports, and which in each and every one you'll find different options. If I go to overview, select it, and I want the project summary, click it, and I can click select, and here's my print preview. I can go to page setup, and I can customize it even more, because in my case I don't have too many tasks, so it's only a one page thing, but I could reduce the size, increase the size. I can change the margins and things like that. I can come back to task, project. I can go back to reports, cost, select. I can choose the cash flow, hit select, and there's my cash flow. I can go back to page setup, and there are options here. Do things. Headers, footer, and you can even add something to the footer. If I wanted to add a project category, say I wanted to put the cost to the footer, I can click add, and it is added to the footer, and there's the total on the bottom. So you can control that. I can come back to task to get out of there. You can also print the Gantt chart. So I've just gone to the Gantt chart, and I'm in the, say, the tracking Gantt, and I can go to file, and then I can go to print, and in here you see it's got the whole plan, the Gantt chart. It also has the legend on the bottom, because it's got all the lines saying which one is critical and what is what. And you can customize this by going to page setup and then clicking on header, and then you can have whatever you want in the header. You can choose the values appear from the bottom, and you can add them to, and you can choose to have something on the left, right, or center. The same thing you can do in the footer, had something on the left, right, and I showed you earlier you can add cost. So if I wanted on the left side, I can add the cost value. Add it. There's also the option called legend. So the legend is available on every page. So if you had like lots of pages, lots of tasks, so you'll end up having a lot, you could then choose to have it on only the legend page, which will be the last page, so that it will fit in more tasks, or you can choose to have none. Okay. So you can click OK, and the cost is added there on the bottom. Okay. So you can print reports, and you can also print these views that you have. So, and these views could be, if I go to task, I can choose the resource usage. I can print this, anything that you wanted, resource sheet. And you'll find there are multiple ways to get to the same information. I can go to view, and then the resource sheet option is there, or resource usage. So there is more than one way to get to things. Under project, we looked at reports, but you can also do a custom report. And in the custom, you can choose any one of these, and then you can edit it. You can even copy it, so then you're kind of making a copy of this, and then give it a name, whatever you want to call it. Change the criteria. There are some details option where you can add different things or remove things. You can even sort things by various options. So you can click OK. Now there is a test report. I can edit it, and I can look at it. So I can click it, and I can select it. And in the same way, in the project, I can go to visual reports, and they have options for Microsoft Excel and also Visio. And so you can choose what kind of a report you want to create, and you can just go ahead and view it, and it will open in Excel. You can also create new templates based on this, and so you can modify it so it doesn't change the existing reports. And they've also categorized it by different category: task usage, resource usages, and they list them all together here. So that's a good option if you wanted to use to print reports, or you can do visual reports. You can also send the files to somebody. So if I click on File, I can choose Save and Send, and then I can send it as an attachment. And under this option, I can also create a PDF if I wanted to. I can do that. So I'll stop for this video at this point. So in this video we talked about, just going to come back to the Gantt chart, that you can add your percentages to the charts if you wanted to, and you can do it a couple of ways. You can use these percentages, you can use the update task option, or you can double click on a task and you can add whatever percentage you want, 30, 20, 28, whatever you wanted it to be. You can also click on details, and then I can right click here and I can choose to work, and I can add overtime hours. That's one of the way to fix over allocation or any problems when your work was not getting done on time. So you can do that. And the other way to fix over allocation problem is to add more resources. So you can even go to your resource sheet and you can add extra people to the resource, or you can increase the, say, the labor to 200%, and that will help to elevate the problem. And we can also print reports of your projects and the visual reports, and you can also print the views in the Gantt chart, or you can print the tracking Gantt. You can go to File and then Print, Page Setup, and you can have more information added to this. So I'll be doing most probably maybe 2 more videos adding some extra elements to the project. Thank you for watching. Back to the previous view, which is the Gantt view, a Gantt. And I'm gonna go ahead and add some people to all of these jobs where I haven't added, because I want to make sure that all the jobs have resources. So I could just even click here and I can say scroll to task so that I see my task here. I can double click on it and I say this resource name, hide it. Or you can click up here and then you can just click on this a Gantt and it brings you back to this one the way it was there before. So in many of these cases we've applied some of the resources. So just to look at our resource sheet, I can click here and I can go to the resource sheet and I can start to add cost and things like that. We're just going to continue adding a few more elements in this video, and most probably I'll have 2 more videos on after this. The last thing we did is where we had added this fixed columns and things like that. So if you didn't want this views in your chart, you could click it, right click on it, and you could hide. Hello. So this is the 3rd video in the series for Microsoft Project 2010. We've been working with this house renovation kind of a project, and we added in the first 2 videos we did task. We also looked at resources, and we also learned how to add resources to our task, and also see all the resources where I had added all the prices. I can also click here and I can go to network diagram. So it kind of shows me my network, and I can use the zoom to reduce it so I can see how things are lined up. So I'm just going to come back